in. I have my computer back. It is actually recording again. Welcome. I see Jagger and Carly and Drake, Felix and Emily. Don't forget to go to your Google form. The agenda is on the same page as well as on the week at a glance. Hi, Periel. Oh, I think Sherry left. She said bye. I missed it. Welcome, welcome. Get your Google form done. Oh, I'm going to activate your Pear Deck because we're going to start with 15 minutes of Pear Deck today. After you do your learning targets, you're going to slide 56 and practicing our biome knowledge. So I got to go to the week at a glance for a second. We are here. Then we are here. So as you come in, make sure that you have done the, that's not what I want. You have done the Google form. I'm going to activate a pod your Pear Deck, so you're all working off of the same one. That's same one, but different one than first period. So it's a little less chaotic for me to grade. So those of you just coming in, we're doing our Google form. Oh, keep switching to my other account. Oh, I know why it's doing it. It's my book creator account is on that old account. Everybody's, Carly, it's hard to answer that question because all of you are supposed to work at your own pace. So we are just going to start on slide 56 after you do the learning targets part. I have you assessing a different target because we're at the end of the chapter. And going to start looking at aquatic biome, freshwater versus marine. Let me get this activated first and get everybody in here. So as you guys come in here, make sure that you are doing your Google form first. I am just getting your Pear Deck set to be active and named. And today we are going to have a timer, time for 15 minutes, and we are going to go to slide 56. So Catherine's going to time us so that I don't spend too much time on one up thing. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to go back for a second. Okay, let me get everybody in. So there's two different ways you can get on this, of course. If I could see my chat box. You can click on the link, which I'm going to give you, or you could put in a code. But the easiest one when we're live is just to click on the link. So today you can see our focus is going to be the end of the chapter. Let me resume my share. For the week at a glance, says for today, we're going to identify our major aquatic biomes, specifically freshwater versus marine, and then review everything else. So we're going to finish up this week with chapter 4. And the way we're going to do that is jump on this Pear Deck to slide 56. So after you've done your Google form, if you're just getting into class, you need to go do your Google form. There's a daily question per day this week. And then we're going to go to the Pear Deck link that I put in your chat box. So in the chat is a link that is active now for third period. And we're going to spend 15 minutes at it. Catherine is timing. Those of you just coming in, before you the Pear Deck, please go do your Google form. There is a question every day. And then we're going to spend 15 minutes on the Pear Deck, starting at around slide 56. Let's go ahead and start it now. It is 3 minutes past when class started. So let's go ahead and get started on the Pear Deck 15 minutes. And I'm going to pull up my dashboard so I can watch all of you at once. So I can see Jagger, Caden, Carly, Drake, Deanna up. You're all, I see 20 of you. Like I said, just go to slides 2 and 3 and rate yourself, and then scroll all the way to slide 56. And we're going to focus more on the biomes part of this chapter. Last week was more about global climate, learning some of the vocab and why we have seasons, why we have the changing climate that's warming. Okay, I see 22 of you now. Let me know if you don't have the link. Here, I'll paste it one more time because I know it isn't there if you came in after. I have not finished looking at all your book creators. They're supposed to be about half done with the terrestrial biomes. Hopefully I will finish looking at those today. And then by the next Sunday, you should be, or this coming Sunday, you should be done with all 9. Well, then you're done already. You'll have less homework. Yeah, the only people I've got to see is Ashley, Quinn, Brianna's, Joseph's, Wolf, Dominic, Nathan, Amber, and Maggie are the only people I got through. But I will try to get through the rest of you and enter those later today. Right, I see 28 of you. So make your way through the slides. Like I said, scroll down to about 56 where the biomes start. Good. I'm going to name this session. Brian, we are doing the Google form and then we're getting on this Pear Deck. Start on slide 56. Looking at Kale's work. Oh, I didn't know I could put things like star answer. Interesting. Sorry, I'm gonna mess around with some of this. How do I take off student names? I know there's a way. There we go. So we started on slide 56. There's a few of you there that haven't responded yet. So I don't know if that, there we go. 5 of you now have. 3 of you, 2 of you. I won't always show you guys my screen. The teacher dashboard is supposed to be for the teacher. I just want you guys to understand what I'm looking at, and so that you can see that I can look at all of you at the same time and how you're doing and what you're doing. And I discovered today that I can say, oh, Caden, that's a star answer. I don't know what it looks like on your end, but I don't know if it just shows Caden that I did that or if it shows everybody, but or I can say something back. Huh. So Drake and Nathan, I don't have answers from you yet on our first slide. It says you're on here though. Why is he special? He's not. He just was at the bottom of my screen. You're all special. Um, where is Nathan? Do not see him any longer. Does anyone know what happened to Nathan? Anyone have ability to contact him? Because I will be marking him absent. Some students have been surprised by this, but if you're not here for more than a couple minutes, it's the equivalent of getting up and leaving the classroom after you did a warm-up. Catherine, how much time do we have? Five minutes? Okay, 5 minutes. Oh, there's a star answer, Helena. That's nice. It does look like it's hard to do it on here. That's okay. We're kind of experimenting with this at this point because I do see that this would be hard to create versus on whiteboards, which is how we normally do it. I like some of these images, something like that. Caden, I'll pass. That's not how you'll ever learn it. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this, maybe, and talk about a week at a glance. I need you guys to also, while I'm talking about this, I know. If you guys could rename yourself with your Google slide for your composting project at the front of your name, the next thing that we have is time with your team. I'm sure it was a work of art, those biome graphs. We are going to focus on what are you going to actually measure. So how will you know your one person's compost is better than another? So one person's setup is working a little bit better than another person's setup at making compost. So today your group is going to kind of talk about and figure out how to measure compost and some sort of empty chart where you'll put in your own observations. So that is our next agenda as you guys get yourselves renumbered. I do want to point out that I have a whole bunch of student samples here. You probably won't have access to them. They're more for me than you in terms of accessing them because they belong to some students from a couple of years ago. What I do want you to look at with some of these is kind of what do I say on the side? What are some feedback and things for them to improve? And you can see they have their 10 vocab words. The part I want to talk about today is what they were observing and how they were organizing it. So this is kind of what you're deciding on. I'm just going to show you a bunch of examples and make sure I'm sharing. Yes. All right, so we have dates. Our project, the last final grade will come the day we have 10 dates on here. So once we have 10 observations made, that is when your team will decide whose compost setup is working the best. And then everybody switches to that. And then you're just keeping it going until we do our master gardener. So this group did temperature, compressibility, and observations. And you can see that they did those over time. They linked them in here. And it looks like different people were in charge of different parts of those measurements. Keep in mind that they were all going out to a greenhouse where all of their setups were at in one location. So there was a little bit easier way to divide up tasks. And then they have their photos. So this is a required part, is to show me the changes over time in photo format. So that was one group's approach to it. This is another group. So they had their date, time, and the weather outside. Now this group was doing some gardening project at the same time. So you'll see there's a compost over here, and then there's they're monitoring their pea plants and something else over here, which you guys are not doing yet. But you can see on the right, they have their photos and they have their captions and descriptions. And then another group wanted their dates across the top. So here, this group actually has them going from left to right, and they have their images each day. And then they also hyperlinked some data charts in here. So I highly recommend having like a link that I can go to if you have a separate chart for something else that's part of your project. So you can see what we did, observations, things we can do better next time, because you are going to find a lot of things go wrong. And that's a big part of this, is what did you learn from it and how did you try to improve it? So measure more precise next time. You can see that we're actually in the greenhouses here. Yeah, and we had chickens, so we used chicken poop and manure and all sorts of stuff. All right, so lots of examples. I tried to hyperlink them here. So it says student example 1, 2, 3, and 4. The other reminder is that you have a practice exam. So on your on-demand day 2, you're taking chapter 4 practice exam this week. Okay. Yes, that's fine, Selena. All right, any questions before I put you into breakout rooms? In the chat box, what did I just say was what you're kind of figuring out today, kind of the one main goal to get done on today's Google Doc? I could see a flood of answers in the chat box, then I will get everyone into breakout rooms. Thank you, Dominic. Who else? Very nice. Yes. Good. So you're really going to have to think about, right, what are you measuring? What are you going to do? How will you know that Carly's compost system is working better than Mason's compost system? What are you actually measuring that will defend that? Okay, good. So I'm putting in room 1 will be Ashley, Kale, Tegan, and Helena. Room 2, Ambert, Avery, Lobsang, Wolf. Room 3, Owen, Quinn, Sophia. Room 4, Anne, Joseph, Carly. Room 5, Evan, Caden, Mason, Selena. Room 6, Brianna, Emily, and Maggie. Room 7, Jenna, Jagger, and Madeline. Room 8, Chin, Jean, and Dominic. And room 9, Yana, Catherine, Saisha. I am going to open the doors, maybe. And then if you weren't put in a room, we'll figure out where you're supposed to be. Right, so Drake, you're with 23. That is room 3. So Corbin, who are you supposed to be with? Corbin and Jack.
I'm supposed to be with Joseph and Carly.
Jen and Jagger. Okay, so Corbin, you're with Jen and Jagger. Okay, that is room 7. Avery just got kicked.
I am with Joseph and Carly.
Joseph and Carly. Joseph and Carly are in room 4. Avery,
I just got kicked out. I'm supposed to be in, I think, room 2.
room 2 with Amber, Lobsing, and Wolf.
Yep.
I'll put you back in there.
Hi. So we already added, I think last week, we added like what the measured variable would be. So I don't know what we should work on now.
So you guys should be working on making some sort of data chart today. Like where are you going to put all your observations? So photos, dates, whatever your measured variables are. And if you guys have already started your compost, which technically we should have, getting your first photos in there.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that all that you guys had?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Emily's asking for help. Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hi.
Hi.
We were wondering if you had any like ideas on what we could use for like our measured variables.
Measured.
Yeah, what we were thinking at first, not for measured variables specifically, but like in the end, like trying to do like grow a plant like in the same conditions to test which compost like the plant grows in best or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to do, that's going to be in the spring. I will be giving you guys, I hope, soil kits that will allow you to look at nitrogen and phosphorus, potassium and pH of the soil and of your compost. But before that, what are some other things that would tell you that your compost is working? What do you guys think?
Like the color.
Okay, good. So the color. And what is a good color versus a not as good color?
Like darker compost.
Okay, so you guys can set up some sort of scale that you want to do that you all agree on, right? Either with a color scheme or darkness of some sort. And then as soon as you're all in agreement, then you start comparing, right? What you're seeing between Brianna and Emily and Maggie. So who's got the darkest or who's got, a certain color of brown. What else? What other things would tell you it's working?
Like the smell.
Okay, good. The smell. Is it earthy or does it stink really bad, right? So look up some ways to measure smell. What else?
maybe just if it has like lots of just chunks from different materials in it, or if it's like dirt.
Okay, good. Yeah, some other groups there, how did they phrase it first period? Something like something about the particles. They were using a way of measuring whether it was still a solid fruit, shape, or was it getting into little disintegrated particles. So you guys can kind of decide. Maybe you could make a size determination. I don't know how much you're shaking yours or turning it or what that would cause it to break more than others, but you guys decided on that, like how you're getting air into your system?
Yeah, we're gonna like leave the top open.
Okay.
And mix it around, I think, was it once a week? Or there was a certain amount of time, I don't remember what it was.
Okay. So yeah, that's one of the best ways to keep it from going anaerobic, right? Make sure that you're stirring it up, because if you leave the bottom of it, you're going to suffocate everything in that bottom layer, and that's when it'll smell. So just that's something to brainstorm with your group, how you'll all do that in the same way. But today you're just making some sort of table or chart where it's easier for you for all of you to kind of be dumping your photos and dumping all your information.
Okay.
Is that good? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
How long are we going to do the composting project? You're muted.
It goes to the end of the year, but we are I'm going to give a final grade once we have 10 dates. So once we've taken 10 different days of photos and measurements, then you guys have usually like a week to finish up your final report. There's no set day because it just depends upon which days we can get a whole kind of 20 minutes of time to go measure things. And as soon as I see that you guys have 10 of those days, that's when it'll be due.
Okay, so end of the year meaning the
Spring.
end of 2020 or
No,
spring?
spring.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. So, for the table, is it only one person who's recording it, or is it everyone? Like, cause you have to add your own table and then your own images. Is it just one person, or is it everyone?
What you're going to have one team data table, but everybody should be putting information into it.
Okay, so like, so I should separate it into like where all three people can, like, put their own pictures in the table.
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you guys have any other questions?
No, I'm gonna go back.
Okay. How's this group doing? Can you guys hear me?
Good. We're working on making a table for our observations.
Yeah, so Saisha is working on the actual table making. I am redoing the materials list because I put it in the wrong place, and I don't know what Deanna's doing, but I know she's doing something. I was watching her do something, but then I got distracted.
So what did you guys decide you're gonna do as what you're measuring?
So we are measuring how fast it goes. So with that, it's how crumbly it is. So we'll figure out the actual crumble of the soil, but we're gonna be measuring on how crumbly it is, the material is.
Okay, is there any other things that you'll know whether one system's working faster or better than another?
Yeah, it's also how much it will have shrunk by, and if you can recognize how much what's in the compost, and if it has a good odor.
Okay, have you guys got yours built so that you can take your first photos yet?
Yes.
Oh, okay, then you guys are great. So yeah, just start getting a good way to organize all that so that you can put all that in there. And sounds like you guys are good and you're doing well though.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
For the safety data sheet, how do we figure out what the substance is that we're going to put into the sheet?
Oh, for the chemical?
Yeah.
For that, you don't need to do anything yet other than general behaviors that make this lab safe, right? So washing your hands afterwards, things like that. The chemical part, you don't have any chemicals yet. I am going to be giving you some and then you'll look them up, but you don't need to do that part yet.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Right, I'm going to go see what the next group's up to. You guys look like you have it under control.
Is that what we're doing?
No, we're sticking the snow piece into the container.
No, we're gonna grow them after the compost is done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
okay,
stick
yeah.
the
So
seeds
right
into
now I
the-
don't have to worry about snow peas basically.
No.
No.
Okay,
You
okay.
have to.
Okay, then I'm good then.
I have to
That
actually
was
make
the
them contain-
deal breaker for you if I have to worry about plants right now.
How is this group doing?
Gene doesn't listen.
No, I was just getting stuff clarified because it was completely different from our question, but okay.
Yeah, we changed our minds last second.
Well,
Do you guys only,
last second,
do you
so
guys
I
only
don't
have
know.
3 people?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so what are the variables or the things you're going to measure?
The height of a snow pea plant inside compost.
Okay, but if we're not growing anything yet, because that will be our spring project, how will you know your compost is actually becoming compost?
The
Yeah.
plant. The height of the plant. That's the
So-
only thing we can think of.
So you guys better do some more research to look at how do you know you have good compost. Try that phrase in Google. How do I know
All
good
right, well,
compost?
you have good
Back in with your group.
compost.
How's this group doing?
Good. We're on our document right now.
Okay. And what did your group decide about measuring things? What are you going to measure about your compost that will tell you whose compost system is working the best?
We're probably going to do the appearance and probably the smells and moisture level.
Okay, and what about its appearance will tell you it's working or not working?
How much of like the stuff that we put into the compost is decomposing, and like if the different things that we put in are decomposing at what rate?
Okay. And what do you mean by decompose? Like what specific ways are you going to measure that rate? Let's go back to the beginning. So your guys' what is your original question?
Our question is, does the shape of the container affect the compost?
Okay, so you're each going to have a slightly different shape, but you're putting all the exact same stuff in it?
Well, we each have 2 containers, and there's the exact same thing in each of our containers, but like among the 4 different members of our group, there's differences in what we put in.
Oh, I like it. So you have 2 different shapes, but you're putting the exact same things in your 2 different shapes per group. How will you know that this shape is working better than this shape? Besides, so you'll have photos, right? But what are you measuring when you compare these 2 that will say, hey, this one's working better? So what's that mean though? What's the speed of composting mean? How do you measure it?
I mean, like when you look at something, you can tell if it's decomposed or not.
How?
If it's like breaking down and deteriorating into something else.
Okay, so I kind of know what breaking down means, but how will I read your procedure and know what you're talking about? So let your group think about this. One thing with science, especially when we do our own science, is trying to find a way that will make sense between all of your team members and to anybody else that reads your experiment. What exactly are you doing and what does it mean? So you guys are gonna have to brainstorm, what are you actually gonna look at and measure? You're on the right track. I just want you to think a little bit more about how you will all agree upon what you're seeing and how you're measuring it. Otherwise, Corbin's going to say, mine did it faster. And Jagger's going to say, no, mine did. But I want actual evidence of whose was decomposing faster and how you know that. So another thing you can do, right, is sometimes you go to a store and some compost is $20 and some compost is $10. How do you know one's better than the other? What is actually a measurement that makes something good compost or not as good compost? That's another way to look at it. Okay, I got to get Kahoot ready. I'm about to bring y'all back.
You are muted.
I did the one that was just chromatographs first period. It didn't do so well. We're going to try the one that's more general about biomes and this class, but I strongly recommend you practice these. They're on the classwork tab, as well as hyperlink down here where it says extra, wait, let me make sure I'm sharing, extra practice. These are, so it says climatographs, that's the one I did first period. We're doing this one, biomes, and then there's one that's on your chapter that someone took from Quizlet, I'm sure made into a Kahoot, and then just aquatic biomes, which is our last part of this chapter. So we are doing the more general one about biomes. I see Sophia, Jack, Diana, you guys could all get on there. Yes, you have to. See, you just should do really well. You should be in the top 5. All right, we're gonna get started in 30 seconds. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hurry. Apes bios. So what biome? Remember in your book creator, you should have images like this that kind of show you where one biome is versus another on the globe. The pin is right down here in the bottom right, 4397152. Taiga. What biome is in this picture? Good, rainforest. So it's talking about this area, I believe. This. Okay, desert. Minecraft. Okay, one more minute. I think this next one will be our winning 5. And we'll be on question 5. Okay, I did not write this. I don't like wording. I do not like answers like that. All right, succulents. So our winners are Carly, Ann, Quinn, Wolf, and Caden. All right, the last minute here, are there any questions about what's due this week? When you go to your classwork tab and you go to the week at a glance, we're right here. You have your Google daily attendance sheet. There's a different question each day. This is the optional test bonus. I'm surprised still, I only have like 3 or 4 of you using this to bring up your grade. And those are usually 3 or 4 that already have 99%. It's those of you that do not have 99% that really need to start doing this. And then reminders, you have 3 attempts allowed for your chapter 4 practice exam and it's open notes. You choose 3 ed puzzles. You should do at least one of the 3 on Florida Everglades because that is the biome that is on your FRQ. There's your FRQ. Reminder, book creator for your 9 terrestrial biomes is due Sunday. And today we did a composting check for dependent measured variables. And then we're going to work on the data charts and putting in photos. I am out of time again. I will hang out and answer any questions. Otherwise, I will see you guys in a couple days. Is that your composting, Mason?
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to share those next live session.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I had a question because in the